Hey, what's going on, guys? CJ here. So I decided to do a bit of a quick spoiler thing. I got thoughts about Joker past our initial review, non-spoiler review of the film. I'll put the link in the description below. Um, I have a thought about this film. In the non-spoiler review, I mentioned there's a scene in the movie that took me out of the film. And that's rare that certain parts of a movie can take me out the film, but in this instance, this is one of those situations where it took me out like a lot. Um, this is a setup here. So Arthur Fleck, as you know, again, just put it out there. This is full blown spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, stay away from this video. If you have seen the movie, continue watching this, and hey, maybe comment below. Um, if you don't care to see the movie, feel free to listen to this, watch this and stuff. Cool. And this as an aside, I want people to understand, and I know this is kind of like going to go on deaf ears. I kept my mind very open about this film. Um, I had trepidations about it and stuff because I don't feel personally Joker is a character that you need a origin story per se. He is who he is, and probably one of the lines that I remember in particular that was emphasized in the Dark Knight movie was the idea of seeing Heath Ledger's Joker pretty much like tell these different variations of how he got the scars, but it really emphasized something. The fact that ultimately nobody cared about his origins. Nobody cared. Nobody cared until he came onto the scene. And I think that emphasizes who Joker is as a character. Nobody cares about his origin. You didn't have to do an origin. And yes, this movie's an Elseworld, but you don't have to do an origin of how he became or got to the point to where he got to the point of who he is as this crazed maniac of a character. That's just me. I feel he just works better. And it also helps that he works better as a character when he's bouncing off other people, which is a hindrance in this movie because Joaquin Phoenix his character doesn't have anybody to bounce off of throughout the film to where it could work. And it really just comes off as Joaquin Phoenix doing the only acting and everybody else just happens to just be there and stuff. Especially when you take into account the way everything was pushed as is like, oh, it's an all-star cast and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, so Arthur, at a certain point in the film, he wants to be a stand-up comedian and such. We see this kind of like build up to this point. And there's a character played by Robert De Niro named Murray Franklin, who is this like Johnny Carson talk show host and such. He plays Arthur's stand-up because Arthur in the movie does do a stand-up routine. And the way it's framed, it makes it seem as though Arthur initially wasn't catching on with folks and eventually he started telling jokes and people started kind of laughing a bit. And you're like, oh, okay, clearly he's stumbling, but okay, cool. So Murray Franklin ends up taking that clip of that and puts it on his show, and it's basically him just mocking Arthur and making fun of him and all that stuff. And Arthur feels some sort of way, just like, wow, how dare this person embarrass me? But whatever. So later on, Murray Franklin's people calls Arthur and was like, hey, do you want to be on the show? Murray Franklin wants you to be on. And he's like, all right, cool. So we cut to him being on the Murray Franklin show. He's all up in the Joker face paint and stuff. And just as a preface here to that, there's a part where he's in the dressing room before he's brought on. And he has this look of like, oh, he has hit the deep end. Because Arthur has killed a couple people. He killed his mom, who he finds out adopted him. So that's not really his real mom. And he kills another guy that pretty much more or less dry snitched on him and got him fired. So he kills those two, and at this point, he's just coming off of killing Homeboy, and he has this look on his face of like, he's about to fuck some shit up. Just that look. And then it just immediately just gets gone as soon as Murray Franklin busts up in the dressing room and tells him, hey, you're going to be on in a few minutes, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, Arthur sits on the chair, gets invited out, sits in the chairs, talking to, Murray, and eventually it ends up turning into Arthur going into this rant about the rich and poor and how nobody cares about me, blah, blah. And he pulls out a gun, shoots Murray in the head on live TV, and chaos erupts, right? So at this point, I'm like, all right, he shoots him in the head. What's going to happen next? He gets captured by the cops. All out chaos in the streets of Gotham. Because up to this point, Arthur had killed 3 Wall Street dudes on a train, and the news basically said, oh, it's a person in a clown mask that shoot these people, and it kind of incited other people to dress up as clowns and start protesting and rioting and stuff. So Arthur doing it on live TV sparked this huge riot. Things are burning, cars are getting flipped over, and you're like, all right, Arthur's in the backseat of the cop car, just admiring that he sparked something in the streets of Gotham. So at this point, you're like, all right, how's this movie going to end? Is he just going to cut the credits because he's admiring all this stuff, which would be cool. Fine, that works. But no, they didn't. So Thomas Wayne, Bruce, and Alfred are in the movie to varying degrees. More so on the Thomas thing because there's a subplot where Arthur may or may not be Bruce's son. Turns out he's not. It was all bullshit. But anyways, Thomas Wayne and Arthur have a bit of a kind of like a chat, and it kind of ends with Thomas punching, Arthur in the face and dipping out. So we're cutting to this scene of the chaos of everything that's happening post that talk show when Arthur shot Murray in the face, and it's all out chaos and stuff. And you're like, all right, cool, whatever. Then it cuts to a movie theater. They show what movie's playing, and it's Zorro, and I'm sitting in the theater like, no. Cut to they kind of basically zoom in on young Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne, and Martha Wayne trying to escape the chaos, walking out the theater. They go into an alleyway. Some dude in the clown mask comes out, follows them in there, points a gun at him. Thomas Wayne is like, no, don't shoot. Shoots Thomas Wayne, shoots Martha Wayne, complete with him grabbing the pearls off her neck and ripping them off, and the pearls just splashing everywhere. And we see Bruce Wayne just sitting up there stuck like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And at that point, that's what I immediately was just taking out the film. Because how many times can you possibly show Thomas and Martha Wayne being killed? It was fine in Batman 89. 100% understand that, right? I'm not even going to explain myself on that one. Batman's parents, counting this movie, have been killed 5 times, and we've seen it 5 times. Batman 89, Batman Forever, when Bruce is in the Edward Nygma's kind of like memory machine and stuff, and he's kind of recounting that situation that happened. Batman Begins, when we see that happening and they play it out and it kind of factors into how Bruce became who he is. BVS, where we see that same fucking scene again of Bruce's parents getting killed yet again. And now we got this. Except the last one is in a movie about Joker, but you put that in there. And it took me out the film because I, for the life of me, do not understand directors' fascinations of showing Bruce's parents getting killed, even though we already fucking know that his parents get killed. Why do we have to sit there and see this 5 times now? And that took me out the film because it was so fucking unnecessary. And again, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the other 2 guys or anybody. It's just my personal opinion. It was fucking unnecessary. It made no sense. And to me, it felt like you were putting in a loophole to inherently revisit this shit again. Even though we're told this is a Elseworlds, it's standalone, it's Elseworlds, it's not connected to anything. Cool. But yet, considering that we have a Batman movie down the pipeline and you have Rob Pattinson playing Bruce, and Rob Pattinson is a very young guy, it makes a lot of us wonder, okay, so is Rob Pattinson's Joker movie tying into Joker, considering the age range and stuff? That kind of makes sense. And in that narrative of Bruce's parents getting killed, it served zero purpose. And it bugged the fuck out of me because you could have ended the movie anyway, but you literally put Bruce's parents getting killed as a sort of bookend to the movie. It's not like Bruce's parents got killed and cut the credits, but you added it as part of a bookend to things that are happening in that scene. And I'm just sitting back like, why even put that in there? Like I'm fine with Thomas Wayne being in the movie, considering, and even with Bruce, I get it because hey, if you're in Gotham City, you might as well throw in Thomas Wayne to a certain extent. But in this film with Joker, it just bugged me because why are we putting Bruce's parents' death in this film? It makes no goddamn sense. And that took me out the movie, and I was just like, this is stupid. And that's on top of the fact that I don't feel personally, this Joker is somebody that I can buy into being a threat for Batman. And I know most people be like, well, that's not the point. Well, it is the point to an extent. Because if this is supposed to be the origin of Joker, it's supposed to be the origin of a person that has been a staple, consistent, main bad guy for Batman for so many years, you got to make me believe that at some point, if I'm thinking in my head, giving all this Elseworld information I'm receiving, I have to believe that if, say, I'm thinking in my head, hey, this Joker was a bit of a threat, I can imagine him really being a good foil. I don't get that with Arthur Fleck. And in fact, I can't even sit there and say he's Joker like that just because of that. And I think that's my inherent problem, is just like, I don't buy Arthur Fleck being the Joker, somebody that could be a credible threat for Batman. And two, showing Bruce's parents' death yet again was just utter dumb and stupid. So that's just my thoughts. That shit just bugged me, and it bugged me a lot, and it just made zero sense in the story that they were telling. And it just served as a way of leaving the door open to revisit this again, even though we all know Joaquin Phoenix doesn't do sequels. He's not a franchise person. This is a known fact. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I just had to get that out because that scene was stupid and dumb, and it made no fucking sense. So with that in mind, catch you guys later. We'll probably do a spoiler discussion probably next week or so and get that out and probably expound on it anymore. So anyways, let me know your thoughts, good or bad. I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be a bunch of people throwing up bad comments like, fuck you, you didn't understand it, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, peace out.